All right, Grow Float, it's been a hot minute since I've had any planned content on this channel. I converted it to an ASMR origami channel, but my first passion and the reason why I've been on YouTube is to share my passion for houseplants and just plants in general. So you will be seeing more of my houseplant collection. I just know about 2 years ago I went overboard with just buying plants and it became very much overwhelming to the point where I just lost the joy of growing houseplants. So, fast forward to almost the end of 2023 and here I am sharing my Syngonium collection, or what was left of it. So obviously you can see I have a couple of specimens right over here. And the first one we're going to be looking at and what I panned on is my Syngonium Godzilla. So this is quite a unique Syngonium in the sense that the leaves have curled up. That's just how it grows. So there's nothing wrong with the plant. Now, a little backstory with this Syngonium is I actually got it as a present from a friend who grows Syngoniums. So I was really happy to have gotten a hold of this about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. It did have some leaf damage. So I was able to treat it with some neem oil. There might have been some pests, maybe thrifts or something of that nature. But I am really, really happy of just the recovery and what it's going to look like. I'm hoping that it will continue to grow and get bushier to the point where I can actually take a couple of cuttings. So there's a couple of viable nodes right here to make this plant a little bit more bushy. Syngonium Godzilla is an uncommon Syngonium, but for a while, about 1 year ago or 2 years ago, it was a very hard to reach plant to the point where you actually had to import it. It is in a plastic Daiso pot that I bought obviously from Daiso. So if you guys want some cost-effective pots, you can shop at Daiso. But this is just an absolutely gorgeous Syngonium. Let me know if you're a fan of the curling type plants. So the next Syngonium I have is a Syngonium Plum Allusion that I got from a local plant nursery called Famous in Oregon that's run by Tanner the Planter and his wife Erica. He's a really big TikTok plant influencer. Their nursery's out in Prosper and it's actually a really nice, gorgeous nursery. So if you're ever in the DFW area, please visit Famous in Oregon. I got this Plum Allusion for a Black Friday special. It's in a 6-inch pot and obviously it's in a IKEA pot or just catch pot. I still have the original Syngonium in its grower's pot. The one thing I really like about this Syngonium is look at the color of the leaves. It's really got that plum look about it. It reminds me of a Syngonium Maria. So I'm thinking that maybe it is possibly just another name for Syngonium Maria, but this Plum Allusion is pretty awesome. The next Syngonium I have right next to it is a Syngonium Panda or Syngonium Panda Galaxy. There's several different types of names for this one. What's beautiful about this Syngonium is it does have almost that Thai constellation speckling around it. There are large sectoral variegation that it can get, but what I really love is just the way these the way the variegation speckles like this. Reminds me of some Thai constellation type variegation. This one is an actual propagation that I did. I paid quite a bit of money for a 1-leaf, 1-node cutting about 2 years ago. And I have made that into a mother plant, which I will not show in this video, but this is one of my most recent propagations. This one is in a smaller oval shaped pot. I really like just the look of it, the simplicity around that. There's a little leaf damage there. I need to just cut some of that off. But as you can see, I love propagating plants, and this is another reason why I enjoy Syngoniums, just because you can grow them. They're very easy to grow. They don't have a lot of requirements, and you can't really kill them unless you just overwater or you allow like a mealybug infestation happen. I think Syngoniums are really prone to mealybugs or spider mites, so just keep an eye on that. The next plant I have is another Syngonium that I just don't know what the actual cultivar is. This one I got at HEB for $12.99. If you can see the veining of this Syngonium, it is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. There's some pink variegation over there, or at least the veining is. This one's a nice bushy plant. And like I said, again, I just got this at a local HEB in the area, and while it doesn't have like flashy variegation, I just love how full it is. And I still have it planted in a grower's pot, but it is sitting in a nice stylish IKEA pot that I got. I think it's called Gravis. That's the actual pot name. So if anybody knows the plant ID for this Syngonium, please leave it in the comments, or if you have any idea. I loved this Syngonium. I'm going to assume it's a common Syngonium, so maybe somebody might know exactly what that Syngonium looks like right here. The next Syngonium I have next to it is another common no ID Syngonium that I have. This one I got at Callaway's, and I am not 100% sure what type of Syngonium this is. All I know is I paid a nice price for it. It was only $6.99 for a 3-inch pot, but basically this plant is just jumping out of its grower pot. I have it in an IKEA pot as well, but you can see that there are different types of variegation from this one. So if you compare the leaves of the Syngonium next to it, this one has a lighter tone to it. I really like this Syngonium as well. I've had it for a little bit now, and it has put on so much growth. Now the next plant is not an actual Syngonium, but I'll go ahead and feature it. It is a combination of cuttings that I did. I did cuttings from a global green pothos, a Manjula pothos, and a emerald green pothos. So I have the front side. So this one right here is actually in emerald green. You can see the green on green variegation is a little bit more subtle, but I've had this plant, or the intent of growing this potho up a pole was to get bigger leaves, and I happened to accomplish a little bit of it. This was another plant that I neglected for a bit, so I'm glad that once I got back into plants, I was able to rehab it, and it's looking pretty lush. I'm going to spin it around a bit and see that this is another emerald green leaf that's gotten really big. You can see on the bottom right here is some of the Manjula pothos right there. So I have the light hitting it more so. It's facing the window. All of these plants that I have featured at this portion of my collection is in my master bedroom facing a west facing window. This one is a global green pothos. You could see that it's a green on green variegation, but there is a very much more contrast in the variegation on the global green. The next Syngonium I have is a really nice one too. I got this one for I think $14.99 at Famous in Oregon. Got it during Black Friday. They had a 25% off Black Friday special. I don't know the plant ID. Let me just double check so I know. It is a Syngonium strawberry cream. Strawberry cream. I love how the leaves, as it's grown up, have gotten bigger and bigger. So you can see that it is about to start maturing. It definitely has a cream look about it. I love the subtleties in the pink veins. And right now I'm just letting it grow in its grower pot. I may go ahead and put a pole or some kind of stake just to help let it grow, because it looks like it wants to grow up. It is a much taller Syngonium compared to all the other ones that I have. So this is a Syngonium strawberry cream. The next Syngonium I am going to feature is a Syngonium strawberry ice. So I have two Syngonium strawberry ice. This one I got for $18.99 at Famous in Oregon, so thanks again to that nursery. This is the only leaf that really has some sort of strawberry ice variegation, but you know, to put it bluntly, this one, they were very transparent about how it was low variegation, so I knew what I was getting when I bought this Syngonium. I do like that it does have that like chocolate looking type leaves, at least the colors, and there's some like purples and maroons in there. The lighting doesn't do justice for this plant. I am hoping, and some people say that lighting, blasting plants with lighting doesn't really impact variegation, but I know that if you do not give enough light, it tends to not show a lot of the coloring, so we'll see what that looks like. I do like the leaf shape of this Syngonium as well, so we'll see what comes about it in the next couple of months. This is a slower growing Syngonium, but we'll see if I can get some strawberry ice looking leaves from this one. The next one I'm going to feature is a Syngonium Milk Confetti. So what I like about this plant, this Syngonium, is look at the pink variegation speckles that it has. There's a Syngonium Milk Confetti, and then there is a Syngonium Confetti. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is of the Syngoniums, but this one was sold to me as a Syngonium Milk Confetti. It's in a 3-inch pot, and you can see the pink around it. I really love the pink variegations that these leaves are showing, and I am trying to give it as much light just so it continues to do that. Now again, with pink variegated Syngoniums, or just with Syngoniums in general, as they mature, their leaves do change their lobes into like a trilobe. And then with these type of variegated plants, or at least from my experience, this Milk Confetti, as the leaves mature, will lose its variegation. So what I always suggest to people is, if you want to keep this type of look, this type of variegation, is to just cut back your Syngonium so it doesn't fully mature its leaves, propagate and make more plants. But from my experience, this tends to lose its variegation as it gets bigger leaves and it matures. This one is also from Famous in Oregon. So really like that they had a really good selection. And with this type of Syngonium, it was very much priced at a fair price. I am still seeing high numbers for a Milk Confetti, so I'm glad that this one was a nice cost-effective Syngonium. The next Syngonium I have is an actual propagation that I did with a combination of Syngonium Albo. So you can see there's just a little bit of that Syngonium Albo. I have a Syngonium Augustatum. So this is a mature leaf right there. And I had some Aurea, but I can't really, well, here's one right here. It's just starting to unfurl. This one was another neglected Syngonium that I grew out in the back of my patio. I did cut it back to see if I can get some more variegation. So you can see this new leaf right here has a lot of yellow. So we'll see if this Aurea will actually populate some better variegation. I've got a Sansi grow light growing near it just to give it some more light, but we will see what that looks like. I love propagating plants to my demise though, just because then I have too many plants to take care of, but it's just such a fun process to see whether I can propagate a new plant and get a new plant as well. This one I want to feature. I'm not 100% sure what this plant is, so please, if anybody's in the comment section, look at that yellow on green variegation. Now this is a plant that I impulse bought at HEB. Did not plan on actually buying the plant, but I just couldn't help the fact that it had such a pretty variegated type leaf, and it looks like it'd be something easy to propagate. Like if I took this cutting and put it in water, I'm sure it would grow. So if anybody knows the plant ID for this, please let me know, but this is an absolutely gorgeous plant. The next one, and I'm going to feature a little bit more detailed, is my Syngonium Three Kings. You can see that, look at this variegation right here. With Syngonium 3 Kings, the variegation really varies, but you can definitely tell that is different from the other variegated Syngoniums. When you talk about like a Syngonium collection, most people will always have a Syngonium Albo. Unfortunately for my collection, while I have Syngonium Albos, they're not variegated to the point where it would be something great to show for this collection. In a future video, I definitely will show you that, but I'm gonna go ahead and pan out and you can just see that these Syngoniums right here are living their best life. And look at this pothos, living their best life on a west facing window in my master bedroom. So I just wanted to share some of these Syngoniums right here. I definitely will do some more plant content, but I figured at least showing you guys some of what I've been up to in terms of my plant care. I apologize if the lighting doesn't really capture it. This is just being filmed in the afternoon, but I will also feature a couple of more rare Syngoniums or Syngoniums that I don't have growing on this window area, okay? So let's take a look at the next type of Syngoniums in just a second. This Syngonium is a Syngonium Tricolor Redspot. This has been a wish list plant of mine for quite a bit. I remember, and it was released about 3 years ago, when a single cutting would go for about $1,000+. Plant sales have substantially reduced for this plant, but it's still quite a bit for just the average person who's wanting to buy a house plant. I ended up getting this plant as a 2-node cutting about 2 years ago for $300. Yes, I know I probably shouldn't have spent that money, considering if I had just waited, I would have been able to get a much better deal. But as you can see, look at the variegation. It's sectoral. It has this like Thai constellation splashy look to it. I've got a half moon right here. This is probably my favorite leaf of the Syngonium. And what I love about the Syngonium is there's always a surprise. The only problem with Syngoniums, and I've stated this in the past, is once the leaf starts to truly mature and starts to grow upward, these pink splashes of variegation end up disappearing. I don't know why that's the case. You would think that it would remain, the variegation would remain the same, but as the plant goes and matures, it changes its variegation. So I like it right now. It's quite bushy, and I plan to propagate more of this plant. So this is my Syngonium Tricolor, my absolute favorite Syngonium of all time. Let me know what you guys think about the leaves and just what you think about this Syngonium. Here is my Syngonium Thai Pink Splash. I remember buying this plant for a hefty price off of eBay a couple years ago. And you can see that it has different types of variegation. I love pink plants. That's probably why I tend to lean toward more Syngoniums, because there's a lot of pink varieties as well as aglaonemas, which eventually I will also do a collection haul of my aglaonema plants. But this one is a Syngonium Thai Pink Splash. As you can see, there are different types of leaves. So the juvenile forms are the typical Syngonium type leaf. It's that arrowhead look. But then as it starts to mature, it starts to get 3 lobes. And I love how this looks as the light hits it. Absolutely stunning. And you can see right here, this one is a pink, just a totally pink one right here, pink variety. I have propagated several Syngonium Thai Pink Splashes, have given them out to my friends, I've sold a couple. This one happens to be my latest propagation, and I just have a little chopstick holding it up. But as you can see, it just has speckles, and I really do believe that Syngoniums are a bit underrated in terms of just the houseplant collector. I think more people lean toward more rare aroids, but when you think of some type of plant that gives you joy, it's easy care. There's hundreds of varieties, and I say hundreds because there's always something coming out in terms of a Syngonium. And then just the propagation process is easy. They literally grow like weeds if you give them the right conditions. You can get something as gorgeous as this Syngonium right here. Absolutely stunning. Guys, let me know what you think about the leaves and what you think about the Syngonium typing splash in the comment section. All right, I did want to do a side-by-side comparison of my Syngonium typing splash right over here and my Syngonium Tricolor Redspot. Really the only difference is that there is an extra white type of variegation that you can see in the Syngonium Tricolor Redspot. Look at that half moon right there with the pink on it as well. That's my favorite leaf, as compared to the Syngonium Thai Pink Splash right over here. Very similar plants. I just remember that the Syngonium Tricolor Redspot happened to cost an arm and a leg when it first was released. Now it's, I wouldn't say it's common, it's more of an uncommon plant. You don't just kind of find it. So the price range is still within 40 to 50 bucks for like a 3-inch potted plant. But as you can see with Syngoniums and just the beauty and color behind it, who would not want to collect something like this? I still have a couple of wish list Syngoniums, but I'm just glad that I have successfully propagated from both of these plants. This is my mother plant right here, and I've got a couple of propagations happening for my Syngonium Tricolor Redspot. And then my Syngonium Typing Splash, I actually grew it on a moss pole. And as it grew up, and like I stated earlier, the leaves and variegation changed. Like it got the 3-color lobes, but what happens is it just becomes more of a splotchy red variegation versus the actual sectoral and splashes of pink. It really lost a lot of the pink and it just kind of dulled. So for those who are watching and know the reasons why that happens, please let me know in the comments. But I did want to go ahead and put together a side-by-side view of both of my Syngoniums. They're very similar. I like them both. I have a little bit more partial preference, obviously, for the Syngonium Tricolor Redspot because of just that extra cream white variegation that it has. Obviously, I'm a sucker for variegated plants, but this is just amazing in my humble opinion. Let me know what you guys think about these plants, and I will give you guys updates as I plan to propagate from both of these as they start to vine, probably sometime in the spring. Here is my Syngonium 3 Kings. This is another Syngonium that a couple years back was quite uncommon and actually cost quite a bit. I know that just the accessibility of getting this Syngonium 3 Kings, most of the time it had to be imported. I happened to find an eBay seller that was selling, I think, a 1-leaf, 1-node cutting. I did pay quite a bit for it, but like all Syngoniums, they grow like weeds once established. This is one of my most recent propagations from my mother plant, and as you can see, it just has loads and loads of different types of variegation in leaf shape. You have the standard arrowhead right here. You can see that there is sectoral. I really love how it just has splotches of green. You can see that there's elongated versions of the leaf as well. And just like I stated with the other variegated Syngoniums, as the leaves mature and grow up, they become less and less apparent. Like you won't really see something like this on a mature Syngonium. So What I've been doing is I've been trying to keep it more of like a mid-juvenile form versus just letting it mature out, so I can maintain that. And the way I do it is just from cutting it back and propagating. I actually have a mother plant that is in a 5-gallon grower pot that I propagate from. There's probably about 20 or 30 cuttings in there on my mother plant. And I actually had a video made on how to rescue a very leggy Syngonium, which I featured which I actually filmed using a leggy Syngonium 3 Kings. There's other types of names for it, but I bought it as Syngonium 3 Kings. Absolutely love this as well. You can see this variegation right here. Let me know what you think in the comments about this Syngonium. Quite easy, and even if it doesn't get as much bright indirect light, it maintains its variegation, so it doesn't revert back to green like a Syngonium Albo or a Syngonium Aurea. So I'm super proud of this. Just wanted to feature this one in my Syngonium collection. And as you can see, these leaves are absolutely stunning. Look at this one right here. Gorgeous. All right, here we are looking at a Syngonium Willandii. It is a very juvenile form that I got from a friend. I propagated it from just a 1-leaf, 1-node cutting. Very slow grower, and what I've noticed with this particular Syngonium, the care is a little bit more challenging. It requires a little bit more humidity. So I do spray it, mist it with a little bit of water. But what I like is you can see that there is a silver stripe across the leaf. And as it matures and grows, it actually loses that pronounced silver stripe. You can see that it is producing a new leaf right here and unfurling, and you can see that there is a little bit more pronounced silver. I still really like this plant. I love how velvety it looks. And this one actually, after I cut it, if you look at it a bit closely, there are 2 growth points. So I thought that is interesting. This is my last Syngonium Willandii. I had several of them, but I lost them just due to neglect and just pest. So I'm hoping to grow this out and make it a mother plant and eventually propagate from it. But this is my Syngonium Willandii, and you can see that the pot that it's in is actually a decorative pot that I bought for $3 at IKEA. Like I said, I like pink plants, I like pink planters, so whenever I come across them, I end up just getting those for my plant aesthetic. So I wanted to highlight this Syngonium. I just recently got this from Famous in Oregon, a local plant nursery up in Prosper, Texas. I do have a Scentsy grow light just above it, as you can see right over here. I got that off of Amazon during Black Friday specials. But what I wanted to say is this is such a gorgeous little Syngonium. It's a Syngonium that I've been looking for quite a bit. It's just the problem with the Syngonium Pink Salmon is if you go on Etsy or just online, you tend to find prices that are just a little bit overpriced for this Syngonium. And truthfully, if you're paying for more than 3 digits at this point for a Syngonium, you're getting ripped off. And the reason being is Syngoniums are so easy to propagate, and I do regret paying 3 digits for some of my Syngonium about 2 years ago. What I realized is even though you have that plant impulse, and I'm sure that many plant collectors have that, if you just wait about 6 months, maybe a year, you can find decent prices for the plant. You can see here it does have that very green pastel tone. If you look underneath it, the juvenile leaves tend to have a little bit more green, but as it matures and grows, it has this gorgeous subtlety. Some people will mistake this for a Syngonium milk confetti, but this one has more subtle splashes of pink, sometimes more sectoral variegation like this one right over here. I really like it. It sits in my bedroom book stand, and it has a little grow light that pretty much stays on all day, every day. And it is sitting in a little IKEA pot right here. Love very clean lines and just a more modern feel for my planters. I'm really trying to steer away from having so many different types of planters and just trying to simplify my collection and how I display my plants. But as you can see, this is my Syngonium pink salmon. Thank you to Famous in Oregon for having very effective, I wouldn't say even effective, more like cost effective pricing for their plants. So I urge you guys to go check that out if you're in the DFW area. My Syngonium pink splash that I eventually will plant into this planter. I just want to make sure that it establishes fairly well before I do any of that. Here we have my Syngonium Arrowhead. I think I'm hopefully pronouncing that correctly, Syngonium Arrowhead. This Syngonium is interesting because it does have the arrowhead looking leaves, but check this out. Underneath has these awesome purple tones underneath the leaves. So I really love what this offers right here. Love what that looks like. It is underwater, so I probably need to water this as soon as I'm done filming this video, but you can see the new growth right there. Love the texture of the leaves. This one is its oldest leaf. It's not doing as well. I'm pretty sure that eventually it's going to just fall up and die, but I do have this growing up a little chopstick, and I'm hoping to grow it up a pole and cut a bunch of cuttings so I can propagate and have a fuller plant. This is another Syngonium that I happen to neglect severely, and I'm surprised that it has managed to survive. So I'm giving it some more tender love and care moving forward. Let me know what you think about the Syngonium Arrowhead. All right, so my next Syngonium we are looking at is a Syngonium Go Glow. This Syngonium I got for a very, very good price at Callaway's Nursery. They were selling 3-inch potted ones for $6.99. And what I love about this Syngonium is how full it is. And look at these leaves. They're tiny, and truthfully, I really don't want to grow this out on a pole or anything. I'm hoping to just keep it bushy and full like this, because if you can see, there are several Syngoniums potted up into this plant. I have it growing in my bedroom under a Sansi grow light. I love these just because you can adjust them. I do believe that this grow light really feeds the plant well in terms of just being able to photosynthesize in darker areas. I will say I have large western facing windows, so it does get quite a bit of light, but with Syngoniums, they say that they are low light tolerant, but they tend to get leggy when they don't get enough light, and I definitely want to preserve the bushiness of this Syngonium right over here. Another thing I wanted to show you is just the pot presentation I have. I have it in a rounder pot. I love just the clean lines it produces again. So I'm really going for more of a modern vibe when it comes to just the planters that I have sitting in, you know, what am I trying to say? I am trying to have more modern looking planters to put my plants in and display them, just because then there's just more presentation versus just hoarding a bunch of plants and having all sorts of planters. Having more uniformity, I believe, gives your plant aesthetic a better look. Let me know if you guys agree on that. But in terms of this is my Syngonium Go Glow. Here you are looking at a Syngonium strawberry ice. I recently went to the Rare Texas Aroids show out in Dallas about 2-3 weeks ago, and I happened to pick up this Syngonium strawberry ice for a pretty good deal. I did have a leaf die off, and it actually had way more variegation. This one's a tougher Syngonium for me to grow. It's a slower grower, and it depends on what Syngonium strawberry ice you get. They have high variegation. This did have a highly variegated leaf, but right now it looks like this. So I am flooding it with a lot of light. So it grows in a grow light for about 14 hours a day, bright and direct sun light. So we'll see what happens. What I'm excited about is, since getting it, it does have some new growth. I haven't pulled it out of the sphagnum moss substrate that it's growing yet. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put it in like a rare Aroid chunky mix. But I do like the leaf shape, and you can see the subtle colors in the leaves as you put it toward some bright and direct light. Let me know what you guys think about the Syngonium strawberry ice, if it's a easy grow for you. I know this Syngonium is maintaining its price as far as just whether it has gone up or down. It just kind of maintains its price. So it's still quite difficult to get a lower price for this, but I understand. I know for the highly variegated varieties, Syngonium strawberry ice is a little bit more difficult to obtain. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pan out one last time on my Syngonium Tricolor Redspot. I just wanted to thank you guys if you made it this far into the video. I know that it is something that just randomly popped up with me showing my plant collection, but stay tuned to seeing more of my plant content as I gain inspiration back to start growing plants. I mean, how can you not gain inspiration to start growing your plant collection when you have plants that have been sitting in your collection that look like this? So if you like more plant content, please leave a comment, like and subscribe, put on the notification bell on there. I know that I'm going to still be posting origami ASMR videos, but you will definitely see more plant content. I might even do a face reveal. We'll see what that looks like. But for now, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next plant video. All right, this is Growfold signing off.